Hey, it's Stuart Sutton at 1 Acre Plus Homes. In California, a while back, the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, sent out new vehicle registrations that were 300% more than the year before. Of course, their phone lines were flooded with angry residents. But they admitted their error and they sent out the correct registration, which was about 50% more than the year before. Now, everybody seemed to be happy with that because compared to 300%, didn't seem that bad. However, had they only sent out the 50% and not made the error, people probably would have been pretty angry. It's called the rule of contrast. Compared to the 300%, the 50% seemed pretty darn good. Had it been introduced by itself with nothing to compare it to, 50% is a pretty big increase and residents would have been angry. Instead, they were okay. Now, why am I telling you about California and the Department of Motor Vehicles? Well, you'll see in just a second. We're going to compare the first 6 months of 2024 with the first 6 months of 2023 for home sales on an acre or more. Let's start with the actual number of sales, about 5% down from a year ago. I wouldn't consider that a big issue, not really a big negative. There's a small swing from year to year in the 1 acre plus market, and that's not really enough to concern ourselves with. How about the days on the market? Well, it's about 100 days right now. It was about 75 days in 23. So that 100 days is an increase. But that's fairly normal. 15, 16, 17, 18, the years, 2015, 2016, 2017. It was around 90 to 100 days, nearly all of those years. So nobody thought anything about it. So the increase to 100 really brings us back to a fairly normal situation. The list to sell ratio, that's the difference in what people are asking compared to what buyers are paying. 96%. That's down just shy of 1/3%. So not dramatic, but the norm seems to be in the 1 acre plus market for many years around 97%. So I think at this point we're seeing buyers negotiate a little harder just because of that run up, that frenzy, that incredible market where sellers were able to negotiate really hard. But 96%, again, not a dramatic change from the norm. The price change, what I'm talking about here is how much were prices changed on homes before they went under contract. So you put a home on the market, some don't change their price at all, some change their price once, some change their price 3, 4, 5 times. The average change in price before a home went under contract was about 1%. Now last year, in 23, it was over 5%. So I think sellers have kind of settled into knowing a little bit more where the market is because the price changes haven't been as dramatic in order to accomplish a sale. I hope that makes sense. Now this is information that I just always like to make sure you're aware of. Homes that had no price change actually sold closer to asking price, sold faster, and sold higher than homes that had price changes. So if you can price your home to sell at the price you start with, you're going to do a little better than if you have to change your price. I've always liked to consider the success rate. How many homes are closing that are actually going on the market? Now, the success in the 1 acre plus market for the first 6 months of 24 was really fairly similar to a year ago. About the same number of homes were added to the market and about the same number of homes were removed from the market as last year. Now, I'm not saying that the same number were added and removed. I'm saying the same number were added in 23 as in 24, and the same number were removed in 23 as in 24. So virtually no change there. It looks like just about everything we're seeing means we've kind of reverted to a normal market. Well, yes, and here's another one. 6 months on the market is fairly standard. Texas A&M, as a matter of fact, says a normal market is 6 to 6.5 months supply of homes. And that's what we've returned to. It's taken a couple of years, but that's where we've gotten to. You remember that big, frenzy, crazy market really ended in July of 22. So it's taken about 2 years to get back to a 6-month supply of homes. Now, will that continue to increase? Will the market continue to soften? It's hard to say. With interest rates where they are, it's hard to gauge. If interest rates slow down a little bit, move down a little bit, then I think we'll see this improve. If they don't, we might see this continue to slip a little. I'll tell you the prognosis once it's happened. How's that? The average price is what everyone's concerned about. Yes, since a year ago, the first 6 months of 23 compared to 24, average home prices have slipped about 7%. Now, that doesn't sound very good, but I'm going to share this with you. Remember the story I told at the beginning about the Department of Motor Vehicles? Well, I'm going to share something with you real estate related. After the '08 debacle, home prices here just absolutely plummeted. Now, we didn't fall as far as California, as far as Nevada, as far as Florida, but we did fall 25% and more. So I want you to think about that for a second. If you have a $500,000 house, 25% is $125,000. So if you have a $500,000 house, all of a sudden it's worth $375,000. That's a pretty big deal. If you've got a $400,000 house, all of a sudden it's worth $300,000. If you've got a $1 million house, all of a sudden it's worth $750,000, and so on and so on. What is 7% compared to that? Well, it's a whole lot less than that. A $500,000 house with a 7% decrease in value is about $465,000. Now that doesn't feel good, there's no doubt about it. But keep in mind, you had about a 50% increase in equity during that 18-month run in 21 and 22. So yeah, it has slipped. You've lost a little bit of it, but by no means have all that equity gone away. Hope that makes sense. So we're looking like a fairly normal market. Yes, it hurts a little bit to lose some of that equity, but it was such a huge gain that right now you're still sitting pretty with the equity that you gained during that time. Now, I did throw another video up here for you. This is one that, well, it's sort of related to this. It talks about that run up in equity and where you would have been and where you are now. Hope you'll take the time to watch that. Press that like button if you like what you're seeing, and I hope you'll subscribe and continue to see what we're putting out. Thanks so much. Remember, it's your choice, so make it a powerful day.